What's this then? A package from China? I wonder what it could be.
Steve opens up cheap Chinese gear. Does it suck? No one knows. Well, he knows.
Hi, Steve from Steve M Outdoors here, and today, kind of product review problem solving video. So if you're like me, you're an avid angler, and if you're like me, you always like to carry a tackle bag and at least one fishing rod with you at all times, because you never know. If you're driving by a lake, you got to give that lake a try, and you don't want to go all the way home, get your gear, and come back. Now, the problem that I had is that although there are, of course, the two-piece rods, carrying a full-length rod was kind of a pain in the rear for two reasons. One, I don't like to break down the rod. I like to keep them in one piece, so you've got this 7-foot rod all the way across your truck. In my case, it was a Jeep. And number two is I don't live in the greatest neighborhoods, so the last thing I need to do is have someone break into my truck, steal all my gear, including a fishing rod. So I tend to carry more budget gear with me. When I'm actually going out, for real fishing, then I'll bring, the high-end rods, reels, tackle, and all that stuff. So the tackle part, that problem is solved. I got it in a bags in the back of the truck. What about the fishing reel, though? I decided that I would give a shot to some Chinese gear that I just happened across one day while I was searching eBay for other stuff. Namely, a collapsible rod and reel. Now, price was one of my motivations because I didn't want to spend too much money in case, this stuff breaks or it gets stolen, whatever it may be. So I ended up buying a collapsible rod and reel, and I won't take it out because I assume you know what a collapsible rod is, but for those of you who are uninitiated, there's your collapsible rod part, and I bought a reel. The rod itself, I think, cost about $17, and it's billed as a composite fiber rod, which it's not. And the reel, I think I paid about $15 for, and it's according to the eBay listing, it was 10 bearings. This one actually says it's 12 bearings. I don't know if you can see it there. Yeah. It has 12 bearings like I'm rich or good looking, or rich and good looking. It most certainly doesn't have 12 reels. Having said that, or ball bearings, sorry. At any rate, having said that, is it a viable kit? In terms of build quality, this is all hollow, the reel, obviously, because it's a collapsing, so it has to collapse in on itself. The guides here, I actually had two come loose. A little bit of Gorilla Glue fixed that, so no problem. And as for the reel, it does not feel particularly of high quality. It's really light, and I mean that in a negative sense. It's not like some CI4 Shimano carbon fiber reel. It's actually made out of, who knows, depleted uranium. I don't know, whatever the Chinese are making stuff out of these days. Having said all that, I've fished with cheap gear before, and it's always worked, never really had a problem with it. How about this stuff? Well, I'm pleased to say that it actually works reasonably well. I took it out fishing yesterday, and this was the only rod that I used. I actually wanted to give this a fair try to see if I could A, catch fish with it, B, how well did it cast, and C, catch fish, cast, well, that's really basically about it, and C, did it survive? Well, in terms of casting, I'll deal with that one first. I saw no difference in this rod and reel combination than I did any other rod and reel combination that I've used. It actually cast a really good distance. I've got 10-pound Berkeley brand braid on it. Maybe that plays a role, I'm not sure. And I was tossing top waters, a little bit heavier than usual because I was trying to get out there because I thought the fish were quite a bit ways off, and it turns out they were. And like I said, this thing cast a good country mile. So in terms of castability, not a problem whatsoever. in terms of reeling in a fish once you've caught it. Unfortunately, I was only able to catch a 2-pound bass on it. But once the drag is set properly, and I lost a 3-pound because I didn't have my drag set properly, it actually did a pretty good job of bringing in the fish. Now, as for bigger fish, I'm not going to speak to that because, well, I didn't have the opportunity, and who knows when I will to catch a big fish. I mean, obviously those aren't guaranteed, but it did catch the fish quite well, and it brought it in. In terms of survivability, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think this is a long-term solution for a back of the Jeep beater rod. I have a feeling that if anything goes on this reel, it's going to be the drag. Because you can set it pretty good, but God only knows what the manufacturing is like on the inside. And I really don't want to take this apart because who knows what horrors are in there. Had I brought two, I probably would have opened up the other one. So yeah, in terms of survivability, I'm not convinced that this reel is going to last a long time, particularly the drag system. For the rod itself, I think it actually probably has a longer lifespan. I think that there's a fairly good chance that it could take a beating because it is made out of some sort of metal. Of course, I don't have a magnet with me. Doesn't seem to be particularly bendable. And I know for a fact that it's not carbon fiber. I don't think that the high quality brand of Long Quan Yuju sends out carbon fiber rods for $17. Having said all that, is this a viable back of the truck beater rod that, you know, you don't care what the hell happens to it? Yeah, I think so, actually. I think for $35, I mean, yeah, you could buy cheap rod and reel combos at Walmart, Canadian Tire, or wherever it is that you shop. They're not collapsible, though, which was a key point for me, is I wanted to make sure that it could fit in as compact space as possible. Back of a backpack, just rolling around in the back of the Jeep. So it fits that criteria. You know what, if it lasts 1 or 2 seasons, I'm fairly happy with it. I could always buy more. I don't think that China's going to stop producing cheap rod and reel combinations. So, do I recommend this? I'm going to give it a qualified yes. Qualified in the sense that if you know that this isn't going to be a forever solution, that you're going to be using this 20 years from now, I think it's a reasonable solution, particularly if it's just a beater rod, like I said, that you keep in the back of the truck, just in case you happen to pass by a lake that you really want to give a shot to. So, when it comes to cheap Chinese fishing gear, I give it a qualified go for it, as long as you know that you're not getting a high-end rod and reel. It's just a beater, and it may only last a season or 2 at best, or maybe more if you're careful. That's it, just a quick and dirty video. I just want to discuss the wonderful world of Chinese fishing gear. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, share, and comment on the video. That really helps the channel out when you give a like and a comment. And if you want to keep watching more of these low-end, poorly shot, poorly lit videos, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And at the bottom, I've also got links to both my Twitter and Facebook pages, where I deal with Twitter, spur of the moment or in the field reports, and Facebook, where I engage in longer term essays and writings about fishing, hunting, and shooting. At any rate, have a great day, tight lines, happy fishing.